Well, what have we got here? A dirty fiddle. Hey everybody, Lucas Welsh here, and just showing you the latest little project that's just come out of the shop here, and it's all full of fingerprints. Who cleans stuff before they start a video, right? Not me. So anyway, what we've got here is a Lowendall violin. German. This looks like a nice violin from the Lowendall firm, a Louis Lowendall. It does appear to possibly have a signature in there, so that's a good sign. That's how much attention I pay to labels. Okay. That's probably the first time I've actually really looked at the label on this violin. Now, when I look at the violin, the construction, the varnish, and I mean, I can feel the wood under the varnish. Aces. Okay, this is a really well-built violin that had a couple minor issues going on. So the main concern was that it didn't sound good. The customer wasn't happy with the tone of the instrument. But that wasn't even the real reason that it came in. The bridge had snapped. That was the real reason that it came in. So I fixed the bridge up. The customer needed it that day. So she took it and played, and then she brought it back to have everything kind of tweaked. So the biggest issue was the sound quality wasn't there, and it wasn't. Okay, the tuning pegs weren't working very well, and you know, there was a few things. So she had actually just had it in a shop, and they had done some work to it, and whether they failed to correct all of the problems that were going on or not, whatever that is, I'm not gonna run anybody down here. So long and the short of it is, I got the violin in, took it out, took it apart, took all the strings off. First thing, you know, there's a few things that you notice right away. The end pin was loose. Like, I mean, it was just like it wasn't even finger tight. It just fell out. So that's not great. It had some really old, a really old tailpiece with some really heavy fine steel fine tuners on it. The pegs were fit really poorly, and had been reamed kind of weird, if that's a thing. There was a crack here in the top that I noticed, and she said, "Oh, they had fixed that. They hadn't done a superb job of repairing it, which they should have tried better to fix it nicer." So anyway, I take everything off. I look down the buttonhole, and right away I can see daylight from some of the seams up here on the shoulders around the neck. So I mean, right away it had a few strikes against it as far as the tone goes. The button was loose. There was loose wood on here, and the tailpiece had these crazy heavy fine tuners on it, the old steel fine tuners, long shanks, all that kind of fun stuff. And also the crack that was up here, I could see evidence of where there had been a cleat that had fallen off. Now this is one of these cracks that, you know, if you've got the long clamp, you can kind of just reach up in here and get a clamp on. Obviously, the glue didn't hold. Whatever glue they chose to use didn't hold. And the crack, while the crack wasn't loose, they had glued the crack. The crack wasn't glued. It was not reinforced. So yeah, so we took care of that, and we did address the crack a little bit and cleaned it up. I mean, yes, it's noticeable, but it is a lot better than when we started. I don't profess to be a real artist at retouch varnishing yet. Maybe one day, kind of doubt it. We put a new end button. We fit the sound post a little bit better. A new tailpiece, a Wittner tailpiece, and a new set of tuning pegs. Now, of course, the issue with tuning pegs is, you know, you always want to have the smallest hole in the peg box that you can, so that you have room to adjust that hole over many years. That's like, it's kind of an unspoken rule, really, but I mean, that's the idea. You want the smallest hole here, you ream the peg, you shave the peg down, is what you do. You don't just ream the hole out bigger to accommodate a peg. You make the peg accommodate the hole. That's the general idea, okay? Of course, one hole had been reamed out significantly larger than the others. And it was a bit of a nightmare. Okay. None of the holes were big enough for oversized, like oversized pegs, you know, they're fairly oversized. And so I searched through a box of about, I don't know, 200 pegs here to find one that was just a shade thicker than the others. And in the end, we got a pretty decent set of pegs on there. The three, the G, the D, and the A are great. The E string peg, it sits in about a millimeter closer to the peg wall than I would like. But it is what it is. They function well, and it wasn't, I didn't have an oversized peg to match this one that I could ream down to make it fit, and it would have been out of place a little bit, as it is. So everything works the way that it should. We got some new tuners. This is the customer's bow. It's a fairly nice. It's definitely got some nice, some nice warmth to it, even with Parastro Tonica strings with a Goldie. So we're going to get the customer in here, do a little bit of a tonal setup if she wants, and if she wants anything changed, that is. And this violin's going to play for a lot of years. So Louis Lowendall, and these Lowendalls have a little bit of a hit and miss history almost. I've found some people really like them, and some people don't like them so much. One thing I don't like is this case, and I just noticed this. This is an old case. I'm going to grab you, I'm going to bring you in here, because this is a little bit of a PSA for all you fiddlers. Hang on. The case is in sturdy enough shape and everything What I want to draw your attention to, though, is the gap. Okay, so you can see how much gap there is there. So that means that the headstock is what's taking any impact if this moves around a little bit. And I mean, these old cases, they're, you know, they don't fit super well. So, you know, it's always worth having a good case for a good instrument. And that's something that I'm going to maybe talk to the customer about here. For right now, I'll probably put a little piece of cloth or something in here to beef this up so that it holds it off of there, and maybe pad the headstock a little bit here for the immediate moment. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy.